story to a friend of mine on the phone. She listened very, very intently. And the story, as it goes, was that in the 20s, the Cuban rumba came into the United States. They took the States by storm. But American kids, high school, college, they're different. They're very innovative. They liked the steps, the basic step, but they didn't care for the music. So they attached the ballad, or it wasn't called a ballad, but they attached the dance to jazz and to whatever music, American music, was available at the time. But when I finished relating the story to her, she asked me a question. She said, "Willie, is that a true story about the history of Balboa?" And I said, "Well, it's as good as anybody else can come up with, so I'm going to go with it." Anyhow, so that primarily is where the ballad started. And it became the soul dance in Southern California. And during the war years, there was an influx of people from all around, and the styles changed, dancing and of music. And the ballad took a back seat and stayed that way for quite a few years. I tried to keep it alive by teaching it. Sometimes I'd have a big class of 2 people, maybe, but I kept it up. And I went through a series of operations a little while back, and I had to give up dancing completely. But I'm on the road to recovery, and I look at the ballad now, and I realize that, as my wife pointed out to me, that it started to come back about 4 years ago, and I wasn't aware of it because I was involved in something else. There is no ceiling on what you can learn. Explaining the basic steps of the ballad, the way I teach it is so simple that I used to teach 5 and 7-year-olds how to do the Balboa. And as far as the basic step goes, they had no problem with it. I'm going to have to glance over these notes again and try to make it. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. The history of the Balboa. It was indigenous, the name was indigenous to Southern California, the name and the dance. That primarily the Rendezvous Ballroom down at Balboa. And there was a place in Long Beach called the Barn, which was a municipal sports center for people down at the beach. And this is where you found all the best Balboa dancers in California. This is where they danced on Tuesday nights. So naturally, I had to gravitate toward that spot. I don't know how many people are aware of the fact that some of the dances that are done, like Lindy and Shag, are 6-count dances. That's a measure and a half music. The Balboa is an 8-count. And everything that's an 8-count, the basic step, everything that's an 8-count can be applied to dances like, let's see, like I said, it can be applied to any 8-count dance. Now, at the time, around Southern California, we had two different factions, or two of dancers. We had the ballad dancers, who were pure ballad dancers, and they resided in Orange County, Long Beach and Orange County. And the other were the ones from Los Angeles, and what the dance was called was what you referred to as swing ballad, was called swing dancing. That was the name of it, the way we danced. Anyhow, although there's a similarity in the dances, there is a radical difference in the application of it. I teach 4 versions of the Balboa. And anyhow, every version, that would be, okay, that would be the straight bow, or original bow, or pure bow, whatever you like to call it. And then there is the swing bow, then there is a triple step bow, and then there's the ultra fast. Now every one of them is a different dance, actually. But there's a similarity. The same as there's a similarity in people, but everybody's different. So anyhow, most of the dancers from Los Angeles, they stayed within the city and did their dancing there because we had no ballrooms around at the time. And the ballad dancers were all from Orange County, around Orange County. Okay. Now you're going to find out, the more you get into the ballad, what you're going to find out is that it is so versatile that you can apply it to any dance, any other dance you like that is an 8-count dance. I just came up with a little version of Tango Bow. Oh yeah. See? Now you take the basic step to the bow and you stretch it out and you assume the attitude of a tango dance. Somebody says to you, "Now, well, you're not doing a tango." Don't tell me. I say it is. Anyhow, so like I said, what I'm trying to say is that you're very, very fortunate that you picked a dance that's going to cause you never to stop learning. And you know, us guys that have been dancing a long time, we realize, and we pass it on to other people that we're cursed in a way. We carry the dancing with us to the very end of our life. Once you start dancing, you don't stop. Now you will notice that a lot of people never start because again, maybe they feel that they can't do it. They feel that it's too complicated for them. And in effect, dancing is very, very simple. I could demonstrate this way. Now this is walk. This is walk. Okay, got that part. No complication. It's simple. Now this is what we're looking at when I say that's dancing. You see? Now that's how simple it is. So, in the dance, you're either going to move forward, you're going to move back, you're going to move laterally to the side here, or that in that direction. Diagonally, you've got 360 degrees that you can make turns in. All you have to do is just let it all come out, that's all. See? Anyhow, if I hobble around, it's because I'm still recouping from these operations, okay? Okay. All right, now we're going to talk about the elements that are involved when you're dancing. First of all, there are 4 elements that I call elements that are important. First is posture, straight, your real posture. That means standing up straight, not stiff, but straight in a relaxed fashion. Now, you don't even have to dance. All you have to do is stand by the floor and look like a dancer and hold good posture. And somebody's going to say, "What a wonderful dancer." All right, the next thing is body position at any time in the dance or any dance. By body position, I mean that if the music stops and the action stops, what do you look like? Do you look like this? Or do you look like this? See? So again, it's very important. What you present out to people is what they're going to judge you by. next thing is balance. Believe it or not, when you're dancing, even when you're walking, when you make any kind of moves, you're always going out of balance. And the thing is, walking and dancing, and any moving in the direction that you are falling into is needed, otherwise you fall on your face. So this is what we call balance. So you're always trying to balance yourself all the time that you're dancing, but you do it automatically. You don't even think about it, because again, you've been balancing your body's movements for all of your life, ever since you got up on your hind feet. Okay, now the fourth thing is timing. Now this is the one that's kind of not too clear for people. You've got in timing, you have two sources that govern your timing for your dancing. The first one is music or sound from the outside. Now this is what we dance to. The band plays a number, and we find the tempo, we find the rhythm, and we dance the dance. Now the other one is what comes out from inside of you. Inside of you. This is the true you that's coming out now. So every one of us has an inborn, inbred, installed sense of timing. If you don't believe me, just lay your finger on your wrist and feel your heartbeat. So anybody who says, I have no rhythm, I say, well, yes, you have. If you don't, you're dead. That's it. So anyhow, so these things actually, they're all very simple when you look at them, because they're things that you've been exposed to all your lives. Now, the Balboa is not a difficult dance. No dance is difficult, because it's always a step at a time. A step at a time is what you do. So, in the process of dancing, you have to be aware of something called finesse. Finesse, finesse. By this, I mean that you move gently on the floor. I skied for a lot of years before I was operated on, and I tell you, when somebody asked me how I learned to ski and why I always looked like I enjoyed myself, I said I let my skis caress the snow. So this is what you do with on a dance floor. With your dance shoes, you're caressing the floor, so you don't move like you're a shrimp tank. And you don't treat your partner as if they're a sack of beans. You treat them gently, but firmly, and you're going to find out that it all works out. After you apply it time and time again, it becomes secondary to you, and then that gets us to the point of learning. Now, learning itself is not really too much fun at times, because you go into a new area. And every time we go into a new area, we have to acquaint ourselves with what is there. So, in the process of learning, it's not so much fun, but I'll tell you where it's fun. It's fun when you learn. That's when you can really be yourself. You don't think about what you're doing. So that is the part that you have to look at as gained by repetition, until everything becomes second nature to you. And when it does that, you can tell a dancer that's been on the floor for quite a while, they look very relaxed. And it's hard to decipher what they're doing because they do it so easily. So anyhow, so you think about these things, and you're going to be facing. Very importantly also is, oh boy. See, I told you, style has a big bang. Anyhow, style. So, it isn't exactly the things that you do, but what do you look like when you're doing them? You see? Because you're going to find out again when I demonstrate some of the things I'm talking about, as far as the dance called the Balboa. I'll show you where you don't have to know a lot of steps. As a matter of fact, if you keep them to a minimum and do them good, it's a lot better than doing a whole bunch of them that look like a slob. Anyhow, let's see what we got here now. Okay. All right, Balboa's connection with other dances. As I said, Balboa is probably the most versatile dance step you'll ever find, because you can apply it to any 8-count dance, sometimes a 6-count, sometimes a 4-count. It depends on what you're doing. Anyhow, by just stretching out. Okay, all right, we'll get the moon blue in a second. By just stretching out, like I said about the kid, the dancer came up with the balatango or the tango balatango, I like that better. All you have to do is just stretch the step out and apply the attitude of a tango dancer. You will look like a tango dancer. You don't have to do a lot of things, because people look at you, and I said, most people don't recognize mechanically the steps that you're doing, because that took time to learn and have to be explained, and they are spectators, and they're watching you. So, holy mackerel, just had it. I ran into a mental block. Do me a favor, will you? Either give a laugh or a yell or something. Now, where do you start when we're talking about speed, we're talking about tempo, we're talking about pace? Where do you start to learn a dance like the Balboa? Well, you start with a song or a number that's a very slow count, and always my favorite has been the song Moonglow. And it's about 70 counts or 70 beats to a minute. And it became kind of our theme song with all the classes that I had. Whenever they played Moonglow, they got all excited and said, gee, they're playing our song. How about that? Anyhow, so you start off everything slow. And then you build up momentum as you go along through the learning process. And pretty soon, if you're very diligent, you will get to a tempo that you can't believe that you were ever able to do. And that is ultra-fast dancing, which is 300 counts or better. And if you want to hear what it sounds like or what a fast number is like, you listen to something like Jimmy Lunsford's White Heat. Or one that's even faster, Ride Red Ride. Now, that's by the Bill's Blue Ribbon Band from Savoy Ballroom prior to World War II. Now, remember that when I talk about most things, I'm talking about the 30s. Things, yeah, well, most of you were middle-aged at the time. Anyhow, so we go back a long way, but dancing itself is a form of self-expression. And the better you feel about yourself, the better you're going to express yourself. And you want to know something? It doesn't cost any money. I mean, it's all free dress. You feel good, you look good. So first, again, give yourselves a big hand. Okay, now, my wife just reminded me. See, I keep her here. She's my cue queen. She tells me what to do. Anyhow, so you start slow. You start slow with the very slow numbers and get the basic down. Now, the basic, you have to remember that everybody teaches differently. And all the different areas have their own little idiosyncrasies, no matter what it is. And in dancing, we call it their style or their style or their style. Now, there'll be a similarity in everything, but there'll be a difference because, again, of the individual places that it comes from. Anyhow, you'll start slow. See, like I said, I can't give you this little talk, and this is a talk. It's between you guys and me and you guys. You see. Now, I'm grasping from one place to another. This is what I'm. You see, I made some changes after my wife tagged it all up. No, there was a reason, but I didn't change what she wrote. See, I just kind of added to it or explained it.
I've been listening to this for the last 2 months, so I know what he plans to say. It's just going to have to get back into his head.
There you go. I knew she'd come up with the next one. Anyhow, okay, now you want to watch the tempo from beginning to advanced dancing. You want to watch the tempo. Now, when you start out real slow, what you really learn is discipline. You discipline your mind to govern your feet at a certain pace. And this will allow you to complete any steps that you start. If you pick songs, and there are a lot of them around right now, where the music is a little too fast for people who really complete the steps that they're doing, whether it's in the ballad, or the Lindy, or the shag, or anything else, or the polka, or the minuet. It's all the same thing. Anyhow, so you want to watch that, want to pick your music, and make sure that you can carry the tempo. Because if you do a step pattern, you want to be able to complete that step pattern each time and go on to the next one. There's where you have a continuity and a very smoothness. Because if you have to fight just to keep the tempo, you're going to find out you'll never complete the steps that you're really trying to do. So don't even try. You can be very particular and pick your own music, the tempo. Whether the music moves you to a point where you want to dance, or you reject the idea and wait for another one to come along, that is going to be your style. And you'll find that you make things easier for yourself. I noticed that the bands today are playing music, and most of them are playing absolutely too fast for the level of dancing of this social dancer. Oh, and by the way, I don't teach, at least I see myself then, I don't teach competition dancers, and I don't teach teachers, because I figure, listen, they already know, and they have their own style of talking, of presenting things. Let's see, I just had a slip there. So what do you expect? I told you I can't go in kind of sequence.
I hope I'm as sharp as he is at 80.
Anyhow, so listen, so I think I'll just kind of cut it off short right now, because again, I can scan over this thing and find some other things that we can talk about. I know, you reminded me of a great number, that's 70 counts as moon. Maybe I said that already. Moon glow? Oh yeah, you see? And the thing is, that when you're dancing, when you're trying to dance fast, you can cover up all the mistakes. But when you dance slow, you have to discipline yourself.
Yeah!
There you go. Huh?
You're here.
Okay, thanks, Mel. Okay, but before I ask you a question, I want to show you a couple of things. These two cups here, this is what we used to win back during the 40s. Now, this was first place winning combinations. So anyhow, I thought you'd be interested in seeing this. One is from the Torrance Civic Auditorium, and the other is from Ross Ballroom at Huntington Park, which were fine dance floors. So anyway, I brought them along just to show you how diligently we work to win one of these.
If anybody that plays for the contest is here, I'd like to collect your cash at the end of the day. You can just give the cash back and I'll give you some cups. Styrofoam. Does that sound good, Willie, if I collect the cash back that they won last night? Because just cups. Okay. So, Marty, David, okay? Just see me after this. Thanks.
You didn't get an 8-foot trophy for 12th place?
Okay, I need to drink the water, and I'm going to have you ask me some questions. Listen, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask. You know, ask and thou shalt receive. Hallelujah. Anyhow, so you ask if there's anything on your mind. Now, okay, with my reading glasses, you look blurry to me, so I'll lift them. Yes, dear.
Willie, what'd you get for second?
Oh, what is it again?
What would you get for second place?
All right, for second place, you got nothing. You were a loser.
If anybody has a question, raise your hand. I'd like to bring the mic over to you so everyone can hear. So,
It's Donnie.
Donnie. Come on, folks, don't be shy. This is Willie Desatoff in Cleveland, Ohio. If you don't have questions, I'm going to be very upset.
Would you tell us about your friends that were great dancers?
What was the question?
Tell us about your friends that were great dancers.
Okay, fine. Saved by the bell. Anyhow, okay, let's talk about now ball dancers. Like I said, in Orange County, it was the Balboa. In Los Angeles, it was swing dancing. Okay, now out of Los Angeles came a bunch of good top-notch dancers, including one that Sylvia is very familiar with. His name is Maxie Dorff. Maxie was one of the guys that was very smooth on his feet. He had great moves. And I think that watching in a certain movie that was done there before World War II, I saw the greatest dance sequence for swing dancing. It was the whole stage was blacked out, and there was a platform and a light shining down, and Maxie Dorff and his partner Mary McCaslin and Lolly Weiss, and I can't forget what his partner's name was, but they were dancing and they were doing the same thing as swing. Now this is strictly swing dancing, or what you'd call swing ball. So I thought it was the greatest performance I've seen as far as presentation on the Balboa, or any part of the Balboa. Now, the Balboa dancers, pardon me, the Balboa dancers were not as well known because, again, they weren't publicized like the Los Angeles dancers were. But then they had a style that was most of them had a very smooth style. There are a lot of good ad-lib steps that you do in straight down. Oh, she reminded me. Well, anyhow, one other dancer that I should actually mention and I forgot is a guy named Gene Cole. His nickname was Shadow, and I thought this is the one that I emulated, and I spent the first going to a regular ballroom, which was Montebello and had a beautiful floor. I saw this dancer, and I was intrigued by it. So I paid my money, I went in, I sat down, and for the next 3 hours, I just watched him. And then I went home, and I tried to emulate him. I tried to do what I saw him do. And then the following week, I paid my 2 bits to get in again, and I just sat there and watched him. I did that for 6 weeks. Oh yeah, by that time, I was convinced that I wanted to dance the way he did. So anyhow, his name was Gene Cole, and you've seen him on screen, especially easily in the movie Bug Privates. He's one of the dancers that learned from Dean and learned to Lindy. So we'll get around to talking about Dean too, because that's very important. Because Dean did a style of dance, not only the Lindy, but he did a style of dance called the jig trot. And it was a New York-based dance. So I don't know whether any of you people have ever seen it, but it's a real good number for dancing fast. And anyhow, okay?
We have another question here from this cat. You might recognize him.
What other dancers did you emulate? You had a couple of favorites. What are some of your other favorite dancers that you emulated?
I'm a little hard of hearing, so if I say ha, well, that's what I'm trying to get. Okay, a little history about myself there. Oh, well, I really emulated, probably I consider greatest dancer of all times. That was Fred Astaire. I saw it. I was more influenced by Fred Astaire than I was ballroom dancers, because my first experience was seeing him when I was 12 years old, and I never forgot it. And through the years, he gained popularity as a dancer. But the thing was that he had such a fine sense of finesse in what he did. And if you watch his movies and watch his feet, you find that always looks like he's sliding on glass. And that's the way I like to dance. I try to, again, I tried to emulate him. And I didn't look like him, and I didn't dance like him, but I felt an attitude that he had and a viewpoint that I really appreciated. So it made it easy for me to apply it to what I did. So you're going to find out too that, again, it isn't just learning something and then staying with it the rest of your life. You're going to add to it. You're going to subtract something. You're going to alter things. And that's what makes the whole process of dancing so doggone interesting, because you never stop learning. Okay, so anybody else with a question?
Willie, I have a question. I heard a rumor. I heard a rumor that you also emulated like matadors in the way they held themselves and walked. And is that true?
The matador posture.
I heard a rumor. I heard that Willie Desatoff, the way you carry yourself, and we're going to show more video footage a little bit, but the way I heard that rumor. Is that true? Is that true? Because I mean, you're bad. You're good. So, is that true? Did you emulate anything?
Listen, I say anything is true as long as they're not insulting me. Anyhow, see, when you're talking about attitude, posture, and all, if you've ever seen any pictures or been to the bullfights, fortunate enough to be in full flight, so watch Matador. They come out and they own everything that they see. That's the way they act. So I say this, I say, okay, so you pay your money, you go into a dance hall. So why not act like you own it? Well, after all, you're renting the floor, aren't you? And you're paying for it. So, don't take a back seat. Show a little chutzpah, a little guts. Don't be afraid. That way you're going to do something for yourself. Because again, it's all an individual thing. It's nice to have a good partner, and each partner has to complement the other. Now, I'll say this to you guys, that your responsibility when you walk out on the floor is to make that partner of yours, make her look good. And boys, the better you make her look, the better you look. So that's really a priority when you get on the dance floor. I found through the years that no matter who it was that ever asked me to dance, it didn't make any difference. I tried to think of her as somebody that I want to enjoy dancing with. Okay? So it's pretty mental. Everything is pretty psychological when you come right down to it. And don't forget.
Hey, Willie. You want to talk about how you went off to the war and what happened before and after you went to the war?
Oh, okay. Would you like to hear about the changes Anyhow, when World War II came along, it changed everything. There was an influx of dancers, all kinds of dancers from all over the country that came here. People who were in the military and people who worked in aircraft companies and all. Now, that's when our dancing really went almost kaput. Took a back seat, and it was very, very tough coming back because, again, there was a big change of attitude. But we had to practically start over again, and all of us dancers, we found out that we were not too many of us numbered. So anyhow, it was a kind of an uphill climb from the time we came back out of the service. But like I said, there was an influx of all kinds of dancers, and a lot of them were very good, but they danced a different style. The ones out of the East Coast danced a 6 count, anything similar to a shag or a lindy. And they call it by different names, you know, the jitterbug, the New Yorker, whatever. Anyhow, was there anything else about that? Where is it, Randy?
We have another question over here.
Hey, Willie. I'd like to ask you if you talk a little bit about the difference between pure Balboa and swing bow, or some people might know bow swing.
I've known this kid a long time, so I know she follows pretty good. Okay, now the first thing we do, we take the bow, straight bow, and here's the basic step. One. And notice that I'm not dancing fast. I try to keep it down because I want to be aware of the fact that I'm trying to discipline my moves to a point where after I repeat them enough times, I'm going to think about them, they're going to be natural, see? Now here's the thing, a little thing called a forward progressive. Here's the one, same thing, circling. Now here's a little side step. Oops, sorry. Well, that happens occasionally. Keep your feet from running around. Okay, so much for that. There's a lot more to that dance, so that version of the dance. All right, the next one is swing bow. Okay, here we go. Now I get fancy with her. And if I'm falling over my feet, you know why. Okay, so maybe I'll try a little spin with her. Is the triple step bow. And I love this. This one's real cute. Because you got, all of you know the triple step. It's just, all you do is put that little, and here's the cutie, it comes this way. I'm not going to do. Anyhow, you're going to gradually get up to it because it's like everything else. You build up to it by repetition all the time. And then the thing is, you're going to relax on that floor. You're going to relax on that floor. And instead of fighting and trying hard, you're just going to let what you have learned will be embedded into your psychological or your subconscious, and just let your body do it because the body already knows what to do. Okay? All right, let me take a little break here.
All right.